Meeting is now streaming live. We don't need to record it.
Yeah, record it anyway.
Stop yelling at me. That's what you record. Where's the record button?
There. There.
Here?
More. Yeah. There.
Record on computer or to the cloud?
No, it's the cloud. So we got 28, we got minutes.
We're already
Three,
live.
three people in the room.
Why's your head so big? Oh, there. We're live. People are watching this. It's lunacy.
Oh, gotta put my thing up too. I'll put these to the side.
Good morning, you two.
Morning.
Well, hey. How are you?
The band is back together.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, you guys are together?
Oh,
Yes.
well, we're not married.
Are you?
We're in the same place. We're not together.
Are you sure this isn't just photoshopped?
It's our background. We both have the same background.
Queen Lisa.
Well-
No, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hey,
It's Deborah.
Oh,
No, he makes them.
All the A team is here.
we don't get that every week.
No,
Just kidding. Every week the A team's here.
of course, yes.
Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning.
Yeah,
How's everybody today?
you dressed up for the wrestling Olympic trials?
Yeah, something like that.
Nice.
Good.
All right, we're 9:31. You want to get rolling?
Because we're already ahead of it. That's all this getting recording.
Yeah, that's it.
We have to do something though. I have to put this on the other side. I'll put this over here so you can. See who's allowing it.
I can open up and then turn my sound up and
There
just
we go, like that. There you go. Oh, who's in now? Yeah.
Give us 1
let
second.
People in there.
Yeah, I'll let people in here.
Okay. Hey. What are Dini's? She's gonna have to text me her address. Okay, we ready to roll?
Let's go.
Good morning, everybody.
Go ahead.
It is Friday, April 19. And the slaughterhouse of failure is not in our destiny. We shall persevere until we succeed. And I say we because that's a modification from Ogmandino, who said I, but we. Or the slaughterhouse of failure is in our destiny if we quit. Simple. We quit, you fail. So I've always joked about and given out, and by the way, Dee, I think I owe you one. Somebody, I think it's Dee. This no more excuses bad. This is yours.
Mine's at home. I'm sorry.
Nah, he's useless. I'll have to give him. I'll have to tattoo it on his forehead. Anyway, no more excuses. And this is something that I think is very valid because, you know, so many times we can't just subconsciously make excuses for something. Somebody invites you somewhere and you just say, I don't want to go. So you make an excuse. Whatever it is, we've got to understand that there are many things in life are we have an excuse for. We don't want to do that. So Sam Silverstein wrote a book which is called, No More Excuses. He actually gave a talk to Newskin years ago, and he was very, very impactful. I really loved it. And from there is where I got this thing about no more excuses. And let's see if anybody else is coming.
I'll check.
Nope, just in case. So the first thing that he's talking about in his book, one of the things is personal accountability. And so our take is whatever we do, we should do it like no one else is watching. You've got to be accountable to yourself. You are the judge of who you are. You've got to decide your actions, be authentic. And this is where accountability comes in. It starts with you, starts with ourselves. Not lie to ourselves, be accountable. Because it's much more it's much more important to automatically be accountable to ourselves and to be authentic.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not taking responsibility for your actions, when you're not being accountable for your actions, for the choices that you make, and what you're doing to reach your goals on a daily basis, you're selling yourself. It's not going to impact others as much as it's going to impact you. And Lawrence and I, we've been together. Well, we've been in each other's. I don't know how to explain it, but we've been together since like Monday.
True confession.
Hanging out, and we talk a lot about this. I mean, it's so funny. I mean, just about every conversation starts like talking about something not related to business or personal growth, and then somehow we get back to accountability and not making excuses and things along those lines. So this week in particular, we've had a lot of time to talk about this particular topic. And like I said, when you're making excuses, you're shortchanging yourself. The choices we make today, this minute, the next hour, the next day are going to impact everything moving forward for you. And so do you want to be the type of person that's making excuses and blaming it on others, extraneous environmental circumstances, other people? Or do you want to be the kind of person who takes responsibility for your actions and the outcome of your actions? The ability to determine our futures, and our futures are determined by the actions that we take, the accountability that we take, and the choices that we make
for ourselves. And we hopefully that will rub off on the accountability culture, which is our team, or which are our teams. It's important, birds of a feather flock together mentality. It's a cultural club elite, a club of elite people who are reliable, dependable, that we can count on, that count on themselves. All of these types of things. This is what the accountability culture is, where it's not just being us accountable for ourselves, but we can be accountable for our team, and our team is accountable for everybody else. That would be the ideal thing to strive for. So accountability is a big word in this.
Yeah, when you talk about accountability culture, who are the types of people that you want on your team? We don't want just everybody on our team or anybody. We want high quality individuals with humility, accountability, high emotional intelligence. Think about the types of people that you want to incorporate into your team. Are they coachable? Do they take responsibility for their actions? Do they take accountability? Are they making the right choices to move forward? A lot of people decide they want to be entrepreneurs, they want to be business people, but they have no idea how to go about it. And that's the great thing about these calls is we can learn from each other, and having conversations with those on our team and those who are part of our accountability culture.
So from that accountability team, or a team of people who are accountable and who are responsible and who are authentic, we then go to determine a concept of accountability rather than a victim syndrome, for the team imparting the accountability. So a lot of people blame other people, other things, other events, other circumstances for their own shortcomings. Oh, the person who got me in the business, I haven't seen him again, or, the company I didn't receive my product on time, or whatever it is that we have. And we look for a problem to become a victim. And a lot of people thrive and live in the comfort zone of being a victim. It's a comfort zone as well. It's a horrible place to be, but that's where a lot of people are. So that's the other thing is to get out of that negative feeling, the feeling of victim. So that then leads to ownership mindset. We talk about being the grown up in the room. This is really an important aspect of having an ownership mindset. No more excuses. If there is a problem, own it. Even if it's somebody else that's on the team, the people that are on your team and your family and your environment and your community, it's not somebody else's problem. You're part of a community, you're part of a family, you're part of a team. So try and understand that it's one for all and all for one. This is what a community is about. And where we own where we help to solve a problem, we're leading by example as well. That's all part of what this is. It's about no more excuses about letting other people down. They let themselves down. No, maybe I had something to do with it. I could have avoided that.
Yeah, and taking ownership is super important. I'm the type of person that I'll take ownership for anything, whether it's my fault or not, whether it was my choice or not. In my previous career as a medical device rep, and some of you who are nurses and in the healthcare field, that things went downhill, and that usually comes from the top of the food chain in the healthcare industry. And, there were a lot of days where I got blamed for things that were totally out of my control. They weren't even in my job description. It was the nurses at the hospital who messed up, but the doctors that I was working with didn't want to blame them because they had to work with them each and every single day. So, there were a lot of days where I had to take ownership of things that weren't my responsibility or weren't my job details, but I did. And I made them, I would make them right. I would take accountability. And I think that's why I was successful in that particular realm, because I was willing to take the responsibility. I had thick skin, even though it wasn't my responsibility. I'd take responsibility for it. And I didn't just, cower and I'd argue with somebody that wasn't my responsibility. I never argued about it. It just wasn't even a reason to have an argument. I just took a responsibility for it and moved on, made things right, did what I needed to do to move past it, didn't dwell on it, and just moved on. And, I think that's an important attribute to have in anything you do in life, is the ability to, either fail and get up, or take responsibility for something that may not be your responsibility and still see it through to the end. One of the things I was telling Lawrence this week was, we were talking about the types of people that we want on our teams. And, one of the things that absolutely drives me crazy is when I look at somebody's phone and they have 27,000 unread emails. I'm looking at 22,000 on Lawrence's right now. And or if they have that, if I call somebody and their phone's not set, their voicemail's not set up, or it says their voicemail is full. Like if I'm talking to somebody about this business or, any of my businesses, and I make a phone call to them and I get a message that says that their voicemail's full or they haven't set it up, I'm just like, I don't know if I want that person on my team. They can't even take the time to do that. So how are they going to be coachable? Are they going to be the type of person that's going to take responsibility and be accountable? You know, they're not even, in my view, they're not accountable to themselves because I'm a list guy. So if I have, I'm sitting here right now and I've got a computer to the side and I've got emails popping up and it's driving me crazy right now that I've got unread emails. So that's one of my pet peeves. I'm not sure how much it pertains to what we're talking to about today, other than accountability. And Lawrence and I were talking about it this week, but it's also, you know, about leadership and doing those things to that you require of yourself and those things leaching over to people on your team.
Yeah. And on the leadership thing, you know, we're saying always lead by example, no matter what you do, leader mentality. Simon Sinek was talking here. I think he wrote a book. I thought it was General
He was the guy, make your bed every morning.
Make Your Bed. Yeah.
Yeah,
But he
this-
also talked about, you know, he was always the last. to
Leaders
go
eat
and have-
last.
Leaders eat last. And leadership is something that we've got to lead by example. And we talked last week about trust. So I want to just mention that, by the way. Trust is something that is hugely important. You've got to be able to trust yourself. You've got to trust the people that are with you. In fact, last week, I remember the title was something like, I can trust you with my business, but can I trust you with my wife? That was Simon Sinek. And the trust issue is something that is huge as well. I just want to add that because, you know, it's the responsibility of leaders to be accountable within their teams and organizations, to provide strategies and lead by example. So as leaders, we've got to see if you're not a leader, you're just a soldier somewhere, who cares? You get away with a bunch of stuff. But if you're a leader, everybody's watching. And we should watch ourselves first. We should look at ourselves in the mirror and say, you know, am I a responsible person? Am I somebody people can trust? Am I proud of who I am? Or am I just going through the motions? Am I consequential in what I'm doing? You know, these are important things that I think are some of the teachings that I've learned anyway from Silverstein, Sam Silverstein, building trust.
Yeah. And some of these things, you know, you have to introspect, you have to look at yourself and say, you know, am I being accountable to myself? Am I being accountable to my team members? Am I being accountable to my business and my family and my pets and, you know, whoever and whatever it is in your life? Are you building trust with them? Do they trust you to do anything for them? Do they trust you to lead them? Do you trust them to hold them accountable? You know, these are all important things, and without them, it's very difficult to be successful. You know, we talk about young kids and how difficult or their lack of work ethic. You know, I hear this on a daily basis. You know, they're playing on their phones all day. They're playing video games. You know, they don't want a 9-to-5 job. Everybody wants to work remote and online and everything like that. And you know, my goal over the last year has been to see if I can find a couple of kids in their 20s that I can teach to be medical device sales reps for one of my other companies and give them a career, but also teach them the accountability and the no excuses mentality that it takes to be successful. Now, Lisa put a great comment in here that successful leaders are morally accountable too. You know, you have to be morally and ethically accountable.
Exactly.
For people to follow you. If they think you're a fraud, if they think you're a liar, if they think you're a cheat, who wants to follow somebody like that? You know, it's very difficult to get people to follow you unless you're doing something that's resonating with them as a leader.
Plug Provo. Okay, we just got a little note here. Scott, plug Provo, same time getting my team to commit. Right. So, yeah, so the other point that comes up here is being able to, if you don't be afraid to take on problems head on. Learn to love making mistakes because that's the best way. It's your best teacher in life. the best teacher in life is when you've emotionally screwed up and you learn from that. You got two options. You can either cower down and say, "Oh,
I told him
failure,"
to car, and then I told him.
wallow in the comfort zone of mediocrity and self-pity, or you can get up and say, "My gosh, that was a hell of a lesson, and I got to learn from that. I've lost everything personally 3 times that I own. 3 times. I've lost everything." And I got up from there and I said, "Okay, what was my lesson?" Well, my lesson was don't go to war zones. But anyway, that was one of them. So don't be afraid to take on problems head on, and don't be afraid to learn from, and be happy to learn from your mistakes. The other thing was building trust. We've just started to discuss that. It's imperative that we generate trust with the people and team we serve. This is something Dan and I were talking about yesterday. You know, we talk about our being accountable and having a team and so on. We're service. We are serving people. We've got to serve people. We've got to, that's who we are. We're serving. We're servers. We were at a place yesterday, and we just said something about what was it? What do you do? What do you do?
What do you do here? What do you do
What
here?
do you do? And the guy said, "My best." I love that. What do you do? My best. And I'm a server. And I think he was a sort of not exactly a pastor, but just a person who was helpful for people. So I just wanted to add this part about the trust and being a server.
And doing your best.
And doing it
and if,
absolutely.
one thing that's important if you're going to join this business, is that, you have to do what people before you, follow what people have done before you. And there's some steps to that. One of them is getting your scanner. How are you going to go talk to people about something and the technology that you're not even able to show them, put their hand on, have them have contact with? Number 2, have you been to Utah? Set clear expectations for people if they're joining your business and want to work with you. That should be one of the expectations, is that you get out to Utah, that you touch and feel the company, that you see the science, speak to some of the scientists, see the laboratories, see the manufacturing facility and the distribution plant, like see what the company's all about, see the culture, see the ethical and moral culture of the company. As Lisa said, our company leads by example. Morally, ethically, they do what's right for the environment and, social responsibility and things along those lines. It's not something that a lot of companies do, so don't take it lightly. A lot of companies also don't have 80 full-time scientists that work for them. One of the largest anti-aging research engines in the US. There's a lot to hang our hats on with this company and with this organization and, the opportunity. But people come, we start talking to people about the business and they waffle back and forth, and, you talk to them for a couple of weeks and they're really excited, and then something happens in their life that they, you don't talk to them for a while, and then they come back. And, I've had people come back 2 or 3 times, and I'm just like, you look, sooner or later, you got to make a decision. You've either got to say, this is for me and I'm going to try it, or I'm not. You can't, what are you going to do for the next 2, 3? Yeah, do it.
Try.
What do you do for the next 2, 3 years? Waffle back and forth, looking for opportunities and turning them down one after another without giving anything any effort. I see people that do that on a daily basis. They're out job surfing, or they're on LinkedIn putting out, 100 resumes to see what sticks. You got to believe in something. You got to have a purpose. Look at what we have. We have a lot more than a lot of other companies have to hang their hat on. As a business opportunity and morally and ethically. So if you haven't been to Utah, get out to Utah on May 9th, 10th, and 11th. I guarantee you won't regret it.
Yeah, it's being part of the, first of all, do you know what you want? That's the first question. Bless you. The first, whoever that was, I don't know. The first question is, do you know what you want? If you know what you want, then go 100% into what it is that you're wanting and that you're going to do. And by 100%, I mean, be a part of the product. Use the products, know what they are, be a product of the product. And as Dan said, go to the company, see what it is. So they've got authority to talk about, or you can talk about something with authority because you've seen it. It's not a theory. The reason I am and Dan we're so passionate about this is because it's palpable. We've done it. We can feel it. We live it. We live the products. We live the thrill of making a difference to people thanks to the company. And the company has never let me down. That is all part of the trust, part of the authenticity, part of the culture that we are in and that we should adopt. The other thing is clear expectations. The clearer we explain the mission and expectations to ourselves first, and then to our audience, the less chance there is for ambiguities and uncertainties, errors and excuses. In other words, let's be clear about what we want. Let's be clear about,
Okay,
bless you. I think that's Jennifer, whoever that
you can.
is. Jennifer. Let's be clear about what we want, and let's
Put
be,
your homework up.
let's
Here, everybody.
and let's be when we talk to somebody, let's be clear about what the rules of the game are for those people. No false pretenses, no, it's straight. This is what you can expect. This is how long it's going to take. These are some of the challenges. And if somebody has any questions, be frank, be honest, always be honest. The truth is the best possible tool we can have. You'll never fail if you're always truthful. You won't have to remember any lies. Just be truthful. That's all there is. It's setting clear expectations. Senor?
Do we want to open it up for any comments? How are you guys, how do you perceive what we're talking about today about accountability? And
Yeah.
we just have 5 more minutes here. Anybody want to come off mute and comment?
I don't want to answer at once now. Nobody? That's it? We failed, man.
No,
Well,
you're not
We're,
failing.
we're all in our comfort zones.
We
Yeah,
failed.
we're all processing the great information you just bestowed upon us. So you got to let us generate the thought here. Good stuff.
Hi.
Good stuff, guys. Good seeing you guys. Absolutely,
I'm
accountability
just doing a conference call.
to someone else first is important, and then
I'll be-
eventually,
Okay.
Jim, I think you're on.
I'll
You have to
step-
mute yourself, Jim. Jim
Okay.
Trainer. Yeah. And then having self accountability. Ultimately, what's our end goal here? We want to have people who are self-sufficient that are leading others, and you got to lead yourself first before you lead others. I love what Lon Wardrop said back in the day when I started this business. He said, empower self and empower others. So the
Yeah.
first step is empowering yourself, doing what you got to do, reading the books, listening to these calls, having an understanding of what's important. And then when you empower yourself, you have the ability to empower others. And you guys do that every Friday with these calls. And I appreciate the great information. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. There's this little final thing that was on the list here today was creating a legacy of accountability. So we also discussed at some time, how do you want to be remembered? And this is important too. Think about that. What do you want on your tombstone? How do you want to be remembered? Who was this guy? Who was this person? Who was this lady, this guy, this person, whoever? And that's something important, because who we are is how we're going to be remembered, how we comport ourselves, how we behave, who we are. So it's I know it's a little deep, but it's important, because that's what team leadership is about. It's not just about do this, do that. It's about everybody got to think for themselves and find their own path and lead themselves and lead their teams. I failed so many times. Oh my goodness. So many, many, many times.
I've seen it this week. Firsthand.
That was just with driving. No, the people sense when you have that sense of direction, no pun intended, and that drive, no pun intended, and they want to follow people who have that passion, that vision. You know, we've heard, you know, without vision, people perish. People want to follow someone who's got that clear vision in their mind, and being an example of what you want people to do is important. You know, think of it like when parenting. You know, think it's the same thing. We're raising a business family like we've talked about, and leading by example is important. Important to keep putting in good information like Sam Silverstein and reading every day, doing savers, you know, silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing, journaling. And when we do that, the business will come to us a little bit easier because it's who we are versus what we do or have.
Actually, Dan, Joe, the subject for today came with a conversation you and I had yesterday about no excuses and Sam Silverstein, and that's what we thought. What a good idea! By the way, I want to mention I've offered anybody that wants one of these no more excuses. Didi, I think, texted me, and I need that number again. You can text me or put on the chat anybody that wants one of these, and I'll send them to you. No more excuses. A little band that most people have. There's Joe's. I know Mike and
Mike's got no mas excusas. That's different.
mas
Most
excusas,
mas
that's fine.
excusas is different.
The only delinquent here is this guy here.
I think we all knew that.
So if anybody wants, let me know, please. I'll be happy to send you one. Anything else? Anybody else?
Perfect.
No?
I just think
Go ahead.
Joe was saying after you provided this great presentation is just so true. I mean, every one of us want to have quality people on our teams. You've got to first become the person that will attract them. And to attract somebody, you better be walking at 110 per step, 110%. And that, you know, people say, well, I walk, you know, okay, how many forums have you been to? Taking people to those forums, you know, how many of these calls are you on every week, consistently every week? And then how many of those calls are you making and, you know, reaching out to people to try to help them with their lives? That's what'll attract people.
Yes. Are you asking people to do what you're not willing to do yourself?
And
That's
also,
huge.
and one of the things that just was up that we mentioned was birds of a feather flock together. So if you're a bum, you're going to attract bums. If you, on the other hand, you walk your talk with integrity, with authenticity, and you have high levels and high standards, and you are leading by example, you will have that caliber of people. And that's generally who we strive to have in our teams, because that's what will be successful. People that we hope to be the best of ourselves, and we hope to be able to help everybody bring the best of themselves.
The best is a qualitative measure. And when we're talking about accountability, find that metric, find that thing you can report to your accountability partner. I made this many calls today. I placed this many scanners this month. I have this many people coming to the fly-in. Find the metric that works for you and have an accountability partner that you report to, whether they're listening or not. Send them a text. I did it today with Scott and Steve. I'm like, hey guys, I did a cold call yesterday. Ended up placing a scanner package. They're in Dubai, but at least I'm reporting to them. They didn't ask me to report to them. I'm doing it because I want to create that kind of you know, culture where people are reporting positive victories, small victories, you know, and that will get them into the momentum, and then they ultimately have mastery. So if you guys you don't have somebody you guys want to text me, I'll text you back. You know, I did it with Jerry this morning. You know, have somebody that you're working with. That's what makes the business fun. You know, a friend. What does Dr. Dan McCormick say? You know, a friend, nourishment, and what's the third thing, Jim? You know this.
A friend, nourishment. Oh, friend, nourishment.
I always forget the third thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
but-
Anybody know? Millionaire training, friend, nourishment, and not responsibility. I think it's responsibility is the third one. Anyway,
I'll buy
great
that
call,
one.
guys.
But you know, Joe, what you're saying is it's this whole aspect also of accountability. You gave a good example because accountability goes in all directions. And with that, I mean, you want to be accountable up to people like Stephen and Scott. guess what? They're accountable down by all their commitments to us. But my goodness, it helps them to hear from us, you know, about what we're doing. Otherwise, they think they're talking to silence. And then accountable to your team and also accountable across to each other, like me to you and you to me, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
360-degree leader. That's it.
John Maxwell. I mean, you know, like I told you the other day when we reached out to each other, Jim, you know, we have so many more sidelines in this business than we have uplines that might be busy in Dubai or whatever. And that's great. I'm happy for them. But we have each other. Like, we got to look at each other as a culture of supporting one another towards our goals and checking in and making sure we're okay, but still focusing on our metrics, calls, descriptions, you know, presentations, people at the fly-in. Those are the metrics, guys. If we look at that, even if you just talk to one quality person a day, I mean, I'm still doing a victory lap because I spoke to somebody who is literally a stone's throw from my office that I've been there for 10 years yesterday. And they ended up getting the scanner package. I was like, I thought it was a practical joke how quickly she really gravitated to what we have, because opportunities properly presented are often irresistible. I'm not saying I'm irresistible or the way I presented it was, but she was all over it and she got herself, and I'm like, wow, that's a shot in the arm. You get that momentum. It's like losing the first few pounds when you're on a health kick, or, you know, fitting in a dress size it's a little lower, or the pants now you're wearing a 36s instead of 38s. Whatever you've done in the past that's giving you the momentum, have that momentum and celebrate the momentum with somebody that you're accountable to. That's I think the most important thing. We're not alone in this business. You feel very alone. Look at everybody on this call here. We all got each other. Look, I mean, you got all these people on the call. So, and thank you very much for, you know, Dan and Lawrence, for being consistent. 25 people here. We're all teammates. Let's see each other rise. That's what it's all about. Go get them.
And the last thing is just wanted to
Quickly, so can I just quickly before this last comment, the mindfulness and meditation for entrepreneurs that Linda Linda and Anata are putting on. There's a link in the chat for anybody who would like to join that. Please do.
another website.
It's not this link.
Oh, good.
Linda posted a link
Oh, I
into the
didn't see
chat.
that. I didn't see that. Thank you. Thank you. Good. I didn't look at that. Good. And precisely on that point, you know, every person on this team has some talent that maybe somebody else doesn't have. And that's what makes the strength of a team. When you've got an Achilles heel for somebody, that mine goes all the way to my gluteus maximus, but on certain things, but we all have strengths and weaknesses, and the team is what makes this strong. But you got to lead it.
And if you ever want to see a temper tantrum, come over to Lawrence's the week that he gets a new laptop computer.
That was carefully planned when you were there, I'm sure.
I think so.
Technically challenged, man.
All right, everybody. Have
Okay.
a great week. We gotta get to
Thank
the
you,
airport.
yeah.
Thank
Gotta
you so
take time
much.
to the airport. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Get on
Thanks,
this
everybody.
call.
Have a great
Thanks,
week.
guys. Great call.
Go
Have
to
a great week.
Utah.
Very
Go to
good call.
Utah.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
I'm sorry, I had to throw that in. I couldn't help myself.
Hold on, we got to get this thing off now. Where are we going? Yeah, well, exit.